Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and we're creating a scrapbook today that I am going to give to my niece Addison in order to feature the photos from her dance recital. So you'll notice that the colors are like her favorite colors, but it's very easy for you to do this project and just pick a completely different color scheme if this isn't what really suits your photos. What's unique about this is I've taken and I've recycled the plastic covers from a journal. This is from the office supply section from Staples, but I've used the front and back cover from this in order to custom make this. And when you look inside, first before we look inside, you can see that the binding, I've replaced the binding that was there with this ribbon, fluffy ribbon binding, and then inside I've got the page, the first page, which talks about that it's for her dance recital. It says dance your heart out. And then this is just stickers up here, vellum stickers, and then down here I've just used circle punches to cut vellum and then go ahead and add polka dots on the bottom. On the back side, this is a pocket page, and it comes with this particular scrapbook. It happens to have a pocket in it. However, it has some information on here I wanted to cover over, so we'll look at how to cover that. I haven't put all the photos in. This is one of the photos that's going to go here, but this is a nice pocket for the souvenirs that she has that go along with this particular day. I've just barely started to put photos in, but I wanted to show you. I created several pages. I created a cover page in the dark, or like the first page, the title page in the darker pink, and then the page, the pocket page that came with the scrapbook, and then lighter pink pages, lots of them. You can see there's a whole lot of pink pages because we have a whole lot of photos. And then I even went back and I included some of the lined pages from the original notebook because I think she's going to want to go back and write some of her thoughts. She might want to draw. These are all pages for her to do something with. Then I've got another one of the dark pink, like with the inside cover, and then the black of the notebook itself. I love the fact that on this Martha Stewart notebook, she has no information on the book itself. All of her information about the size and what it's for, it's all on this page, which is so helpful because it lets you use this for anything you want. The same is true of the back, both pages. What you want to do first is pull those pages free. So what you do is you take the notebook and you find, if I open this up, you'll see that the page, it's at the back of the book, where these pages separate. This is where normally I've started to pull this apart. This is where I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to open up each one of these because this will allow and make it very easy for me to pull apart, pull those covers off, and then any of the other inside pages that I might want to use, it's easy for me to go back and use those. Because it's a wire binding, if you wanted to reuse this, after you've put all your pages in there, you can do that. You can close it back up just the same way using tweezers or maybe even like a pair of pliers to squeeze it back shut. I decided to use the ribbon binding. Once you have it loose, it's easy enough to pull off one of the covers, and then I'm going to take the front and I'm going to pull it around. I'm going to pull out all of those pages that I referenced. I want to take apart so that I have the back cover that goes with this. I have a front and a back cover with holes that match, and it's hard to tell. Sometimes the way the design is, you can tell which is supposed to be the front and back. Hers are done so well you could do it either way. So, and I think that, the design on the front and the back matches. So I've got a front and a back cover. I've got a guide for all where I'm going to place the holes for inside. And I'm going to also take a few pages. Like I said, you may decide, I want this page that has this pocket. However, I don't want this information, so I'm going to cover that over. And then I'm going to pull some of these lined pages, and I'm going to use some of these to put inside the book as well. However many pages you want. There's lots in there to work from. In order to put the book together, I think it's easiest to start with what would be like the front, like title page. So I did a front and a back one. And remember I mentioned, this is nice heavy cardstock. So this is really simple to use as a guide. You want to just cut the pages, the paper, so that it matches the paper that's inside. So if I lay this down, You can see it matches. However, look at how hers have rounded pages. In order for these pages not to stick out, I either have to make them a little smaller or I have to round them. There are punches. I have a punch from Stampin' Up! That does corner rounds. It's very simple to just place your paper into the section. I can't remember if this is the punch from Stampin' Up! Or from somebody else. I have a few of them, and I use them all. They happen to have a different diameter, so I use them differently depending on how small or how tight or how fat I want this rounded edge to be. But I've rounded my edges. Then I went ahead and I laid this down, tapped it together so that I could lay this down and draw with a pencil and mark where I want these holes. Now you'll notice the holes in her scrapbook are square. I do happen to have a square punch, but I don't know if it's a common thing. So thought I would just check and see, was it easy to do with a round punch? And it turns out it is. In fact, I think it's maybe easier than a square one because round ones don't have to align any place. A square one, you want to try to get the square straight and not tweaky. But the round ones, all I'm going to do is take this is just a regular 1/4 inch hole punch, and I'm going to put it straight right over the top of the square and then go ahead and punch. I'm just holding these together with my hands, but sometimes it's helpful if you're doing several sheets of paper at once to use a paper clip to hold them together. Get down to the last one. If it turns out that you have any little pencil marks that still show, you can erase them at this point. But you want to do this with, this is what will be the first and the last page, and then I did the same thing with all of the lighter pink pages that will go inside. So I have all those punched the same way, and then I'm going to add in, I put the lined pages at the back, although you might decide to have a lined page every other page based on who you're making your book for and how you think they might want to use it. Just need to make sure that all your holes line up. And then we talked about this page. Now this page ends up being the second page. So before we get into decorating that, let's look at the decorations that I did on the front page. And they're really basic. Notice that you can kind of slightly see through on the cover itself. So I wanted to pick something that was not so busy that you found yourself squinting trying to read it. I kept it pretty bold and graphic. Up here is just a watermark ink pad and a stamp. And then here I've taken just a little piece. I'm going to go ahead and fasten this down so I can reference any place where you cover up a hole. Let's say that this is going to go roughly right here. Any place where you've covered up a hole, you need to be sure you go back and you punch that hole out. And as long as it's a different color, like this is red, it's really simple to see where to align this in order to punch out that extra hole. So add any decoration. I also added rub-on letters that said dance and a heart, and I wrote dance your heart out. This was all this decoration page. When I get to this page, now I've got this pocket page, and it's set up so that on the front side, all I've done, because it's already got the holes, all I did was I used vellum stickers for this top section, and this is a vellum sticker, and then I just used vellum, and I went back with my punch and I punched out different size vellum circles. So I'll go ahead and just add a few. So if I wanted to add this polka dot here, and then I think the beauty of vellum, it really shows up when you overlap. So I'm going to stick right over the top of this. I'm going to fasten another smaller polka dot to give that polka dot effect. So decorating this page is just as simple as adding stickers. You could add die cuts or whatever you want. This page, all I did was I took, now you could have I could just cover over this element itself, but I decided to just cover the pocket was easier. So I just took paper that coordinated well and I folded it so that I can tuck it inside, put it against this edge. I'm even going to clear so I don't have to worry about cutting new holes there. So all I'm going to do is, once I've cut one out of paper, I'm going to put adhesive on the paper And I am going to put it so that when it folds over, and because the adhesive is there, I need to kind of lift this so that it goes and lines up with my fold line here, like so. Let me tuck this way into the corner, and then pull this down and press, and it allows me to decorate this, which will then allow me to add in, you know, whatever fun souvenirs that she wants to put in this page. So this page goes next, and we'll have all of these pages. I think it's easiest to add the photos while the pages are loose like this, and you can trim off the edges without having these other pages in your way. But once you have everything decorated, other than the part that I'm going to give it to her and she's going to decorate, then you want to place all the layers back together, tap it into place, and it's time to look at how to do the ribbon binding. The ribbon binding is incredibly easy. What you want to do is thread ribbon through. When you're going through a stack like this, you have a couple of choices. You can take a paper clip and hold it together. If you don't have a clip handy, and I know I have some, but right now I'm not sure where they are, you can also take a floss threader. And this you'll find in the drugstore over with the toothpaste. If you have kids who have braces, this is what you have them do to clean behind their braces so they can floss and not have cavities while the whole time they have the braces on. This is going to make this so it's easy to pull this through these holes, even if I'm not using a paper clip to hold them all together. I'm going to go ahead and poke this through, and I'll pull it like so. And once I have it pulled through, actually it would have been smarter to just pull one side. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the floss threader off, but it allows me to thread these through. You could do all of them, but let's go ahead. I'm going to do a skinny one next so you can see the variety that you can do. And I'm just going to go ahead and just stick this through. I'll show you my finished one in a minute. You'll see that I have lots of skinny and fat ones, but you need a spacer in order for there to be leeway so that when you open the pages, the ribbon isn't too tight. So you want something fat, and I'm just using this marker, and I'm going to use the fattest part of the marker as just a space holder. So I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to take my ribbon and tie it. And now I can get it tight against that marker. And then I'm going to, let's see if I can turn this so you can still see. Turn this way. I'm going to go ahead. That was just one. Obviously, I need to do a double knot. So let me tie a knot one more time. And I can pull the knot tight right against, I'm going to pull this marker, make sure I have it at its fattest spot, and then I can pull it tight. I'm going to do the same thing now with this skinnier ribbon, the pink one. I'm going to pull it. I think I can just leave it in the same position, and hopefully my fingers are enough out of the way so you can see that I'm going to just tie it, and then each one needs to be a double knot because you want to make sure that it stays together. Remember, you're going to be opening and closing it. You just keep going, and you just keep sliding this along until you have all of them, and then look at how easily this allows these pages to open. Simple. It's the leeway or the play you need to make this happen. So when I go back to my finished one, you can see how cool it looks. And if you look closely, you can see that I've got fat ribbon. Next, I've got two skinny ones, a red and a pink together here. Then there's kind of a medium size. I've got some that are sheer. I mean, the variety, it's up to you. This is all because her favorite colors. A couple of comments, people asked me about things more for boys, and I've done a lot of a friend of mine, his grandsons, but I wanted to show that even this exact same notebook comes in blue, and instead of doing, if you feel like the ribbon binding is too feminine, you can use these bird leg bands. We'll put a link to those as well, but they are meant to hold, to label bird legs, but they're just circular like this. They come in lots of colors, lots of sizes, and all you need to do is place it over where you want to bind, and then I'm going to rotate it in place, and look how it's now attached. And I just put one every third hole. You could do every hole, but I discovered that it works, you know, every third hole works too. So you could turn this into something really cool for boys as well. You know, you're going to want to hit the Staples and the Office Depot and check out all the notebooks, because you can recycle a plastic notebook cover and add a knotted ribbon binding for a unique scrapbook that is custom made just by you.